Yo, what is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we're going to be doing a tier list of the best small forwards in NBA 2K22 MyTEAM. And yeah, there's a decent amount of small forwards on this list, and most of them are really solid cards. There are a lot of very good small forwards in this game right now, so I'm going to be pretty picky with the way that I do these rankings, so that I can make this list as accurate as possible without gassing too many cards, things like that, because there's a lot of really good cards. So I mean, it'd be easy to put everybody in SA and B, but we got to put guys lower on down on the tier list, so keep that in mind while I'm doing this video. You may not agree with some of my placements. That's okay. If you don't agree, let me know about it down in the comment section down below. That's totally fine. But before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 5,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day, and I would really appreciate your support if you haven't already, if you do subscribe. Without further ado though, let's hop right into it. Let's start off with Andre Kirilenko, who is the first small forward on this list and one of the best. I think you could actually make the argument that he is the best small forward in my team right now. Now, 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan, hot spots from everywhere. 30 hops include catch, corner, limitless, and sniper, as well as a ton of playmaking badges and an absolute ton of defensive badges. This card is so good across the board. His defense is really good. Obviously, it's his best attribute, but he's also got 94 speed and excel, 94 shot 3, and 85 driving dunk, and 94 speed with ball. Jumper is amazing. Jump shot 98 on quick is one of my favorite releases on quick in the game, one of the best on quick. If it was on very quick, he'd be even better, but even on quick, it's still incredible. Shifty dribble style, KD size up, the pro signature size, and behind the back are all pretty darn good sigs. So he moves better than most of the small forwards on this list as well, which is an added bonus. But his size, his defense, his playmaking, and his shooting, I mean, he's just an incredible card. Arguably the best small forward in the game and easily an S tier guy. AD, I think, goes A tier, and the reason that I can go on A tier with AD is because of his size, because the one thing that this card does lack is playmaking ability, but he is 6'10" with a 7'2" wingspan. He's got phenomenal size, also really good defensive and finishing badges, catch, corner, and quick first step as well. Good defensive stats. Not the fastest card in the world, but at 6'10", not as crucial. He's not there to play make. Remember that when you're using the card, but the release is good. Fundamental dribble style, like I said, Kobe size up is nice, but his playmaking is not going to be there. What he will do for you though is knock down open shots and play elite defense, as well as have elite size, basically a big man playing the small forward position. So very versatile, definitely an A tier guy to me. Ben Wallace, I think, goes B tier. Another very good defensive guy, but he's a tiny bit limited offensively. 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan, which is really nice size. Hot shots from both corners, but only a 74 shot 3. If you add shooting badges like limitless, blinders, chef, Deadeye, and sniper to him, as well as a shoe and a coach, it's going to make his three-pointer a lot more makeable, going to get it into the mid 80s. And so but he's nice and fast, and he's an elite defender. All of his Hall of Fame badges are defensive, which is great. He's not going to be the greatest playmaker or shooter in the world, which is why I think he's a tiny bit limited offensively, but overall defensively he's an absolute menace. Shifty dribble style, the rest of his sigs aren't very good, but the release is super solid, so that's nice. Absolutely elite defender, little bit limited offensively, and that's why I'm putting him B tier, but I do think he's a really solid card. Boris Diaw is either B or C, definitely toward the lower end of this list, but a really good budget card nonetheless. 6'8", hot shots from 4 out of 5 spots, 17 hops, include pretty well-rounded shooting, playmaking, and defensive badges. He's a solid all-around defender. Not the fastest card, especially at only 6'8". He's not going to really be a great playmaker. He does have 50 dribble style and the Kobe size up, but the rest of his sigs are pretty mediocre. Gallinari release on quick is solid, but it's not super elite. So he's got a little bit limited in terms of not having the greatest stats in the world, not a massive total amount of Hall of Fame badges, and not the fastest card in the world or with the greatest of releases. He's a good card, but he's not a top tier card. So for me, I think he's C tier. On current gen specifically, I'm putting Carmelo Anthony in B tier. On next gen, he would be A, so just keep that in mind. But for me, on current gen at small forward, he is a B tier guy. 6'8", so he's got decent size, pretty good wingspan, hot shots from everywhere, 29 hops, and really good Hall of Fame badges. Defensive hops even are pretty good. He's a really good perimeter defender, 95 driving dunk, 96 speed and excel, 97 shot 3. The issue with Carmelo is twofold. One, at small forward, he's going to be spotting up in the corner a lot, and that means he's going to shoot a lot of long corner twos, because for whatever reason, Carmelo shoots a ton of long twos in my team. Those the way his releases every single year. Shifty dribble style, Kobe size, and pip behind the back are nice. He moves acceptably, and yeah, he's obviously going to be an elite catch and shoot guy. But unfortunately, he's not the most elite of defenders, and because he steps in from corners, those are two pretty relatively significant issues at the small forward position. So for me, I can't put him any higher than B. Cedric Maxwell's another guy who's like, I might go B with him. I got to think about it. I got to look at the card just a little bit with his badges and apply him to the small forward position, because I typically think of Cedric as more of a shooting guard option, but he's good at small forward too. He's got good size, hot shots from almost everywhere, 24 hops include a ton of finishing badges, good playmaking badges, and really good defensive badges as well, which is nice. He's a really good defender, super fast. He's got pretty good size, base to the ground very quick. He's not going to step in from corners, quick dribble style, Kobe size up. Yeah, he's an A tier guy. I don't want to put him in B tier. He's a super solid all-around card. Definitely a card I'm pretty high on, and I think A tier is where Seti deserves to go. Sensei Natus Powell, a card I was pretty excited about when he was announced as the unlimited reward, because obviously he's new to 2K, but little undersized at only 6'7", and he doesn't have a good player build either. He looks really small on court. Defensive badges are pretty good, a couple good shooting and playmaking badges, as well as some good finishing badges. Statistically, really good all-around card, but unfortunately, I just don't feel like he plays that good in game. He does have shifty dribble style, but the Levine size up is not good. Kyrie's size up is good, which is nice, but the rest of the SIGs aren't good. XM release on quick is definitely not a problem on the card. I like the release, but he's just undersized. He has a small player build. He doesn't play big. That's a significant issue. Not a card I'm a super big fan of at this point, so I'm going C tier with Cincy. At the another guy who's in C tier, I think, is Danilo Gallinari, who does have good size at 6'10", but a bit slow. Mediocre defender. Defensive badges are not particularly good besides interceptor. Really nice shooter and stuff, but the Gallinari release on quick, like I said with Boris Dio, is not amazing. Not terrible. He does have shifty dribble style, but I don't know, man. He's just not on the level of a lot of these other small forwards. So I think he's another guy that does fall into the C tier. Danny Ferry, I'm going to go B tier with. I know he only has 12 Hall of Fame badges, but he's an absolute beast. He's got great size, 6'10" with a 7'5" wingspan. Hot shots from basically everywhere. 12 hops include a ton of shooting badges, quick first step, and 3 of the best defensive badges in the game. Also has pretty good speed, good shooter, good dunker, good all-around defender. 98 on quick, which, like I've said with AK, is a jumper that I'm a massive fan of. Quick dribble style as well. Danny Ferry is definitely a beast, a card I'm a huge fan of for sure in my team. I'm looking forward to him getting a dark matter, because I think that will be debatably one of, if not the best small forwards in my team. This card, tiny bit outdated, but still a really good all-around card and does deserve to be in the B tier for me. Now, Draymond Green is a little bit of a tough one for me, because I think he's right on that borderline of S to A tier, but for me personally, I am still going to put him in the S tier. He's an absolutely elite defender, despite being a bit undersized at 6'7", but Draymond does have a good wide player build, and he plays bigger than 6'7". 29 Hoffs include a massive, just basically every single defensive badge on Hoff. Really good playmaking badges as well, and a couple good shooting badges. Elite, elite, elite. Cannot overstate how good his defensive stats are. They're absolutely incredible, basically the stats of an invincible card. In addition to the badges, he's an absolutely amazing all-around defender. Jump shot on 12 on very quick is pretty good as well. Not my favorite release in the world, but it's definitely on very quick a very solid release. Quick dribble style, pipping behind the back as well, gives him a bit of playmaking ability, and he's an absolutely incredible all-around defender and really one of the best cards in the game at the small forward position, so I do think he's still an S tier guy. Elgin Baylor is probably the worst or second worst card on this list. Not a particularly good card. He's just undersized at 6'5". That's really a big issue. 19 Hoffs, and they're mainly finishing badges. He's got some good defensive badges as well, but at only 6'5", that does hurt him. Quick first step is nice, but no shooting badges. The jump shot is Brook Lopez release on quick, which isn't terrible, but I'd rather see that release on a big man than a small forward. Quick dribble style, but the rest of his SIGs are pretty poor. He's undersized, average jumper, not great all-around badges. He's just not a particularly good card. Definitely one of the worst cards on this list, and I think he does go in the D tier. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Pretty easy S tier guy as well. 6'11" with a 7'4" wingspan, hot shots from both corners, 25 Hoffs, includes, I mean, he's a really good all-around card. He's got limitless takeoff posterizer, quick first step, and a massive amount of defensive badges. Really fast, elite defender. He's got elite size and elite defensive stats. He's one of the best defensive cards in the game in terms of his versatility, ability to guard 1 through 5, rebounding, all those things to small forward position. Also a really good jumper. The only complaint with the card is that he doesn't get the limitless spot up badge, but with a shoe, coach, added badges like blinder, chef, deadeye, and sniper, he's a knockdown shooter, especially from those corners. Really, really good all-around card. I'm a huge fan of Giannis still in my team. He's on my God squad. Definitely an elite option at the small forward position. I'm looking at this list, by the way, and I made the list, so I'm not going to blame anybody. I made this list myself. I didn't put Zion on this list. I just want to point that out. That is 100% my fault. So yeah, I just want to point that out. My bad. Zion, I will say, would be an A tier, not S tier. I will briefly talk about the card as well. I know I didn't put him on the list, which is totally my fault, but Zion is a very, very solid card. He's just undersized at only 6'6", and I will say, despite the fact that he does have base 3 on very quick, his SIGs are not amazing. Quick dribble style and pipping behind the back are good, but the rest of the SIGs aren't amazing. And he's just a little undersized. Really good defender, but I just don't feel like he plays at that super elite level that would make him an S tier guy. He's an A tier guy for sure. One of the better cards in A tier, but he's not going to be a quite S tier guy for me. Glenn Robinson, I think, also goes in the B tier. Another pretty average small forward option. He's 6'7" with a 6'10" wingspan. He's got average size. Hot shots are almost everywhere. 29 Hoffs and pretty well-rounded Hall of Fame badges all the way around, which is super nice. Decently fast, decent shooter, pretty good dunker, a really good dunker. Good enough all-around defender. Jump shot 29 on quick is a solid but not elite release, especially at this point in the year. Quick dribble style. The rest of his SIGs aren't great. Yeah, just a pretty average card. He's not elite, but he's not bad at all. Definitely a B tier type of guy. James Worthy. This one's a little bit tough to me because I feel like I could definitely put him in the A tier, but I think you could also put him in the B tier. I think he's really right on that borderline. And let me see if I can type. Come on. There we go. James Worthy, 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan, hops from 4 out of 5 spots, 27 hops, include great finishing badges, catch, corner, quick first step, and great defensive badges as well. Elite all-around defender and rebounder, solid speed, good shooter, and really, really good dunker. Can use badges like blinders and chef, as well as limitless spot up, handles, fit ace, ball stripper, and ankle braces added to him. I definitely would badge him out if you're going to use the card. But the jumper is nice. Jump shot 22, even with a little bit of a weird upper. On very quick is nice and fast and easy to green. Quick dribble style, Kobe size up. He just is a very well-rounded all-around card. I think he's probably going to wind up being either the worst or second worst card in the A tier, but he is still a card I'm a huge fan of and definitely does still deserve to be somewhere up at the top. Jason Tatum, this is a tough one. Is he S tier? I feel like you could put him in S tier, and I feel like you could definitely put him in A tier because there's one other guy on this list that I feel like is a definitive S tier, and then you have a couple other guys who are question marks. And Jason Tatum's, he's one of those question marks, but I am going to go S tier for him. 6'8", a little bit of a short wingspan, but hot spots from everywhere, 30 hops, really well-rounded hops, amazing shooting, playmaking, and defensive hops, as well as fast twitch, limitless takeoff, and posterizer, which are probably the 3 most important finishing badges. 95 speed and excel, 96 shot 3, 98 driving dunk, elite all-around stats. Really good defender as well. Only needs like brick wall added as a badge. Jump shot 107 on very quick may not be the best release on very quick in the game, but it's a very solid release still, and it still is on that very quick timing, so it's nice and fast. Shifty dribble style and the pippin behind the back give him pretty solid movement. Overall, just another really, really good card in the small forward position. Versatile, defends, shoots, elite badges. Overall, really, really good card for sure. Jeremy Grant, I think I'm going to go top of C or bottom of B. I'm going to look at him a little bit more before I make a final decision. But Jeremy Grant, he's 6'8" with a 7'2" wingspan, so he's got pretty good size. Hops from everywhere outside the 3. 19 hops include good defensive badges, good finishing badges, catch, corner, sniper, and quick first step. He's nice and fast, good defender, good dunker. Yeah, he's a B tier guy. I don't love this release, but it is really easy to green. It's just a little slow. He's not the most incredible, like, dominant defender in the world, but his badges are pretty good in that area as well. Movement, quick dribble style, and Kobe size is nice. The rest of them, not great, but he's definitely not a C tier guy. He's better than everybody in C tier, so I'm going to move him up to the B tier for sure. Jonathan Isaac is pretty easily A tier for me because of how good of a defender he is. He's one of the best defensive cards in my team. He's also 6'11", so he's got elite size, 92 speed and excel, really good finishing, shooting, and playmaking badges for the badges that he does have, but then defensive badges where he really shines, especially for an opal. Defensive stats as well are incredible, but also a jump shot 70 on quick, which kind of similarly to Jeremy Grant is a little bit, I wouldn't say slow, but it's not like as fast as a very quick release, but it's still a solid release and it's really smooth and easy to green. Shifty dribble style gives him at least that little bit of playmaking ability, and he is an absolutely incredible defender. One of the best defensive cards in the game for sure. Easily A tier for me. I'm a huge fan of John Isaac. Definitely do love the card. Kaminga. I think we're going with the B tier for Kaminga as well. One of the best budget small forward options in my team right now. 6'8" with a 7'1" wingspan, hops 4 out of 5 spots. 17 hops include those 3 key finishing badges, as well as catch, corner, quick first step, and a bunch of elite defensive badges. Even has pick dodger, post lockdown, clamps, intimidator. So he's got really well-rounded hops as well, interior and perimeter hops. Elite dunker, really fast, good shooter, and great all-around defender. Doesn't need a ton of badges added, especially for a pink down, which is nice. You could add Deadeye and Chef, and that's about it. Giannis release on very quick though is absolutely chick. Super money release, very easy to green. Looks a little weird because he's kind of got an odd upper to it, but it's really easy to green. Quick dribble style and Kobe size up as well gives him decent enough dribble sigs. He's one of the best budget small forwards in the game, and I definitely think he's a B tier guy for sure. Kawhi Leonard is a tough one for me because I feel like he doesn't have the movement of a lot of the other guys in this list, but he's an absolutely incredible defender, and he has his own player build and defensive stance, which is like separates him from most of the other defenders in the game. I'm going to go A tier, similarly to Jonathan Isaac, because of how incredible of a defender he is and how crucial that is at the small forward position. He's 6'7" with a 7'3" wingspan, which may not sound amazing, but he's got a really long, wide, just great player build. Every year Kawhi has a great player build, and this year is no different. But also, incredible all-around defender with amazing perimeter and interior defensive stats. Knockdown shooter as well with quick first step. The problem with the card, similar to a guy like Anthony Davis, has fundamental dribble style, so he's not a great playmaker, but Ray Allen release on quick is one of the better releases on quick in my team, which is definitely a little bit of a saving grace for this card, is that he's an elite 3-and-D guy, going to be an elite knockdown shooter with a super easy to green and easy to time release, but also an elite all-around defender. I think he's A tier. You might put B tier because of his lack of playmaking ability, but I really am a huge fan of the card. KD is another pretty definitive S tier to me. I feel like KD is definitely one of those top 3 or so small forwards in my team. 6'9" with a 7'4" wingspan, hot spots from everywhere, 27 hoffs, and nice, well-rounded hoffs as well. Wish he maybe had a couple more Hall of Fame defensive badges, but he's got some decent ones. Really good defensive stats, 90 plus, and everything is great. 95 speed and excel, 98 shot 3, and a 95 driving dunk. One of the best moving small forwards in the game as well, shifty dribble style. The KD size at Pro 2 between legs and Pro 3 behind the back, but also the KD release on very quick, which is also one of the better releases of any card on this list. He gives you elite offensive versatility, really good size, and is a much better defender than people realize. Definitely an S tier guy for me at the small forward position. Huge fan of the card. Larry Bird. Here is one of the two guys that I was talking about who I feel like are debatably S tier, and Larry Bird is one of those two. This is a tough decision for me. Do I put him S? Do I put him A? And I have to decide if I want to put 6 guys in S tier, to be honest. I mean, because I'm going Larry Bird in A tier. I'm sorry. Some people absolutely adore this Larry Bird card. I am not one of them. I think he's very, very good. That's why I'm putting him at the top of A tier. But I don't think he's quite as good as the other guys in S tier. He's got good size, hotspots from everywhere, 29 hoffs, well-rounded hoffs, really good defender, great stats all the way around, super fast. Jumper is solid, shifty dribble style, Kobe size, a pippin behind the back. I mean, there really aren't any significant flaws on the card. I just feel like he doesn't play as good as the guys that are in S tier. I don't know, man. It's tough when you're ranking cards like this, and there are so many good cards in the game at this point. You got to make tough decisions, and Larry is one of those guys that I'm going to put down in A tier, despite the fact that I do think he's a great, great card. LeBron is kind of in a similar boat to Kawhi, but the thing about LeBron that makes me put him in B tier and Kawhi in A tier is that LeBron's release is not as good as Kawhi's. That being said, he does have elite size, hotspots, and is an absolutely incredible defender, one of the best on-ball locks in the game. Really elite slasher and shooter as well. I mean, he's a good shooter, but I wish his jumper was better. LeBron release on quick is not my favorite jumper in the game, and he has slasher dribble style as well, which obviously is not great. Profile behind the back is pretty good, but the lack of movement and lack of an elite jumper, despite the fact that he is an elite slasher and elite defender, holds him back a bit for me, and it's why I'm putting him in B tier. No, we'll get a new LeBron soon though, and he'll probably have much better sigs and maybe even a change jumper and be one of the best small forwards in my team. Michael Porter Jr. I actually do think is probably one of the toward the lower end of cards on this list. Like he's not bad. I mean, he's really not bad at all, but the vast majority of these cards aren't bad. Like even the guys in C tier are pretty good cards. He's got great size at 6'10", and he's got pretty good badges, but most of them are shooting badges, which is nice and everything. And he has a pretty good release, jump shot 62 on quick. It's the same base as Jeremy Grant, which like I said, Jeremy Grant is okay, but I feel like he doesn't have elite Hall of Fame badges outside of a shooting badges. Like handles, quick first step, clamps, and intimidator are really good badges, but he's limited in the number of badges that he has. His defensive stats are average. He's got pretty good speed and pretty good dunking. Movement is acceptable, but I just feel like he's not complete in terms of those Hall of Fame badges the way that I'd like him to be. I'd like these shooting badges to be maybe spread around a little bit more to the playmaking and the defense, which I think would improve the card. I don't absolutely adore the release. He's a very solid card, and I think he's the best card in C tier, but I'm still going to put him in C tier, which might be a little lower than a lot of y'all would put him, but that's okay. Mikal Bridges' biggest flaw, in all honesty, is the fact that he's 6'6", he's got a great release, and is a great defender, and he even has a little bit of movement. He's got 7'2" wingspan, though, which does help make up for it, similar to a guy like Kawhi. Hot spots from everywhere, 29 hoffs, and really well-rounded hoffs. Also incredible defensive hoffs, which is nice. Makes sense, too, for a guy who came in runner-up of Defensive Player of the Year this year, but he's pretty fast, he's a good shooter, good dunker, also has jump shot 80 on very quick, which is a jumper I am a big fan of. Smooth, easy to green, really good jumper, shifty dribble style. The rest of his signature size of pro is pretty good, but the rest of them aren't great. That being said, knockdown 3 and D guy who can also defend. A little undersized. That's really the only reason I'm putting him as low as I can, as low as I am. I think he's kind of sort of Kawhi, except not quite as good, but overall, definitely a very good card. Mo Pete is going to be the second D tier guy on this list. He's not a horrendous card, but when you look at him, he just doesn't compare to most of the guys on this list at this point. He's 6'7" with a 7-foot wingspan, so he's got acceptable size, but the badges are not amazing. Mostly shooting badges, kind of like with MPJ. Quick first step, clamps, intimidator are nice, but the rest of the hoffs aren't great. He's missing a lot of gold badges on the card, like finishing and defensive badges. Defensive stats are really mediocre, like the low interior and block does hurt, and the jumper also isn't elite. Jump shot 14 on quick is not my favorite jumper. Shifty dribble style, Kobe size up is fine, but he's definitely one of the worst cards on this list. So for me, I think he's got to go in the D tier. Paul George is going to be my final S tier guy. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna do it. He's got great size at 6'9". He's an elite defender, and he's a knockdown shooter. Jumper is a tiny bit on the slow side, kind of like what I said with Jonathan Isaac, Jeremy Grant, guys like that. But it's not slow, and it's really easy to grade, which is nice. 6'9" with a 6'11" wingspan, though. Hot spots from everywhere. 27 hoffs, really well-rounded Hall of Fame badges. He's even got decent movement, but he's an elite defender. Great shooting badges, good playmaking badges, good finishing badges, elite all-around stats. PG release on quick, like I said, solid release, very, very smooth and easy to green. Not not slow, but not fast. Shifty dribble style is good and pimping behind the back. The rest of his half-court sigs aren't incredible, but they are a little odd, which can help you create some space with him at times, and he's an elite all-around defender. Really, really good card. I think he's probably the worst guy in S tier, but he is an S tier guy nonetheless. Paul Pierce, I almost don't even know why I included him on this list, because I would say in all honesty, on paper, he's the worst card on the list by a mile. 6'7" with a 6'10" wingspan, but look at the card. He only has 16 Hall of Fame badges. He's missing a ton of total badges like Limitless, Takeoff, Posterizer, Chef, a bunch of playmaking badges, and a bunch of defensive badges. He's not going to be complete at all. It's a little bit slow. Jump shot steps in from corners and is on normal timing. This is the worst card on this list. He's an easy D tier for me personally. Richard Dumas. Sorry, I don't know if I can say that. I don't want to get demonetized, but Richard Dumas, 6'7" with a 6'10" wingspan. 27 Hoffs include really good finishing badges, catch and shoot, good deep playmaking badges, really good defensive badges, all around really solid stats. Also jump shot 22 on quick, which not on very quick, but still a good jumper on quick. Shifty dribble style as well. He's a very solid all-around card. Good defender. Hoff pick dodge is a nice badge to add. Good jumper, like I said, good playmaking, good finisher. Overall, really well-rounded card. I feel like he's kind of one of those guys who's gone under the radar as one of the better options at the small forward position, especially as a free card. Really solid all-around card though, and I do think he's an A tier type of guy. Rudy Gay is going to go in the B tier. Has been one of the best budget small forwards for a while. And it's still kind of up there, but I am looking forward to his dark matter at this point in the year. 19 Hoffs is good, but they're mostly finishing badges and some kind of useless shooting badges like difficult shots, rhythm shooter, and volume shooter, as well as triple threat juke downhill. But he's got a few good badges to him, and what he does have going for him is really good movement. Needs Chef and Limitless spot up added. Can't get brick wall though, which is kind of an important badge. Would like to have that on him. Rudy Gay release on quick though, like I've said, with jump shot 98, is a jumper that I am very, very okay with on quick timing. Still super smooth, fast, and easy to green. One of my favorite jumpers in the game, but also quick dribble style with the pin behind the back gives him good movement. He's got a great player build as well. Looks taller than 6'8", which also adds some additional value to the card. He's definitely a really, really good option. I just think he's kind of tiny bit outdated at this point. Maybe not the best Hall of Fame badge distribution as well. So for me, I think he's going B tier at this point. Scotty Barnes is going to go C tier. He's not a bad card by any means, but again, no, almost none of the cards on this list are bad cards. He's 6'7" with a 7'2" wingspan. He's got pretty good size, and defensive stats are really good. Defensive badges are super solid, but no Hall of Fame shooting badges. A jumper that isn't bad but isn't amazing. It's on normal. Oh, I'm sorry. No, hold on. Let me put his Evo on. It's John Wall release on very quick, which is a much better release. Still a pretty good release. Shifty dribble style, Kobe size it, pipping behind the back is good. I don't love the way this card plays though in game. I don't feel like he's a super knockdown shooter without the Hall of Fame shooting badges. He doesn't play quite as good defense as you would think with the defensive badges and stats that he has. He is a very solid card, but I don't think, similarly to a guy like Cincinnati's Powell, doesn't play as good as his stats and badges say he would. And so for me, he's a C tier guy. Sharifa Abdur Rahim is going to go in the D tier. Again, not a horrible card. He's got good size, but 17 Hoffs and a lot of wasted Hall of Fame badges. Mediocre finishing badges, rhythm shooter, set shooter. Post-lockdown rebound chaser are good. And he's got decent defensive stats, but no other Hall of Fame defensive badges. Quick first step is good, but he also has fundamental dribble style, so not very good playmaking ability. Jump shot 81 on quick is good, but not great. Kind of like I mentioned with Morris Peterson. It's just kind of an average release. Yeah, he just doesn't hold a candle to most of the guys on this list at this point, so he's definitely got to go in the lower end, down in the D tier. Thon Maker is going to go A tier for the simple reason that he's 7 foot tall and is an elite playmaker, especially at that size. Yeah. 7 foot with a 7'1" wingspan, so that's incredible. Hot spots from everywhere, almost 16 Hoffs. Only one Hall of Fame defensive badge, which would normally be a bigger issue. But at 7 foot tall, I feel like his length really helps him recover defensively. Defensive stats are okay all around as well, but he's also an incredible playmaker and finisher. Also a really nice jump shot, 47 on quick. It's the same but jump shot as guys like Joel Embiid, Taco Fall last year, if I remember using that card. Jump shot 47 is a jumper I am a big fan of personally. Shifty dribble style, KD size of pip behind the back, give him the tools to be a good playmaker with his playmaking badges as well. And we can't understate how valuable it is to have a 7 foot small forward. His size is an elite asset to him and helps him play better defense than his stats and badges would say, which is why I'm putting him in A tier. Thurl Bailey is going B tier for me personally. Some people still love this card. I'm not one of them. He does have great size, but 25 Hoffs, and he's got good Hoffs as well. Like, he's a good card. Statistically, 90 plus on most of the key stats. Jump shot 22 on quick. I don't love this upper like I was saying with James Worthy, but it's not bad, especially on Worthy with it on very quick. On quick, it's a little bit more baited, which is a problem a little bit, and fundamental dribble style. I feel like he's I don't know. I put AD in A tier, so I feel like I kind of got to put Thurl in A tier too, because AD and Thurl are really on similar levels. They're toward the end of the A tier for sure. But for me personally, I'm going to put Thurl in A tier. I'm going to go against myself, and I'm going to put Thurl in A tier after all. And then finally, we have Tracy McGrady, who really his biggest flaw is that he's got a few flaws. One, trade work release on normal. Two, slash dribble style. That's 2 issues. Jumper's good, but it needs to be faster. Clamps, as he's only Hall of Fame badge as well, hurts a bit. He is 6'8", and he's a knockdown shooter with really good stats. But with the lack of SIGs, the jump shot timing on normal, and only 1 Hall of Fame defensive badge at the small forward position, that's just not going to work. T-Mac is another guy who, just like LeBron, could be seeing a new card very, very soon and could easily be one of the best cards in the game at shooting guard or small forward. But for right now, this T-Mac specifically is going in the C tier. So this is my tier list right now of the best small forwards in my team. Like I said, I forgot Zion. He would be A tier. If I forgot anybody else, feel free to leave me a comment and let me know about it down in the comment section down below. This is actually the first time that I've made this tier list myself for these videos, so it's possible that I'll make some mistakes, so bear with me. But appreciate y'all for watching the video. If you did enjoy it, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.